something that could define the next chapter of Lakers basketball in ways most fans haven't even thought about yet. This isn't just about one player. This is about legacy. This is about strategy. And this is about the future of purple and gold. So, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on those notifications, because you're going to want every single update I bring you over the coming weeks. Let me start by taking you back to Draft Night 2024. The energy inside Crypto.com arena was electric. The Lakers had just selected Bronny James in the second round, the 55th overall pick, and instantly the basketball world exploded with opinions. Some called it favoritism. Others called it a brilliant marketing move. But I'm going to tell you something that most people missed in all that noise. The Lakers organization made that pick with a very specific long-term plan in mind. And what I'm about to share with you today proves that they've been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. Rob Pelinka doesn't make moves without thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. When you look at the Lakers team building over the past few years, every single decision has been made with championship windows and lasting success in mind. The Anthony Davis trade, the Russell Westbrook experiment, and later change, the addition of role players who fit specific plans, and yes, the drafting of Bronny James. All of these moves connect to a bigger strategy. And right now, that strategy is entering an important phase that most people aren't talking about yet. Here's what I need you to understand before we get to the main story. Bronny James's rookie season has been exactly what the organization expected. He spent a lot of time with the South Bay Lakers in the G League, developing his game, working on his weaknesses, and learning the professional basketball life away from the constant spotlight of the NBA. He's averaging solid numbers in the G League, showing improvement in his shooting form, his defensive awareness, and his ability to read the game at a higher level. The coaching staff has been impressed with his work habits, his willingness to be coached, and his desire to put in the extra hours that separate good players from great ones. But here's where the story gets interesting. And this is where I need you to pay very close attention, because what I'm about to tell you isn't being widely reported yet, but it's absolutely key to understanding where this team is going. The Lakers are currently in talks about Bronny's contract situation moving forward. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me explain exactly what this means and why it matters so much more than you might first think. Bronny signed a standard 4-year rookie contract when he was drafted with team options for the 3rd and 4th years. That's normal for second-round picks. But here's the thing that most casual fans don't realize. The Lakers have the chance right now to change that deal, to offer Bronny a contract extension that would keep him in Los Angeles for much longer, and to make a statement about their commitment to developing him into a core piece of this organization. And from everything I'm hearing, those conversations are happening right now, behind closed doors. Think about what this means from a strategic point of view. The Lakers aren't just thinking about next season or the season after that. They're thinking about what happens when LeBron James finally retires, when the torch needs to be passed to the next generation, and when the team needs to keep its importance and championship hopes. Bronny represents continuity. He represents a link to the greatest time of LeBron's Lakers career. And he represents a player who can possibly grow into a valuable rotation piece, or even a starter, if given the right development time and resources. Now, I want to talk about something directly, because I know there are doubters out there, and I respect that point of view. Some people think Bronny only got drafted because of his last name, that he's not talented enough to deserve a roster spot. and that any contract extension would be a waste of money. Let me break down exactly why that thinking is short-sighted and doesn't account for the full picture of what's actually happening here. First, let's talk about Bronny's skill set and development path. Yes, he's not a top-pick talent. Nobody ever said he was. But what he does bring is a very specific set of skills that work well in the modern NBA. He's a plus defender with great instincts. He's got good size for a combo guard at 6 feet 2 inches. He's shown improvement in his three-point shooting percentage over the past few months. And most importantly, he's got an incredibly high basketball IQ that comes from growing up around the game at the highest possible level. The Lakers' player development staff has been working closely with Bronny on specific parts of his game. His catch-and-shoot three-point percentage has improved by nearly 8% since the start of his G League time. His defensive rating in the G League has consistently been among the best on the South Bay roster. His assist-to-turnover ratio has improved a lot as he's learned to make quicker decisions with the ball. These aren't just empty statistics. These are real signs of a player who is developing exactly the way the organization hoped he would. But beyond the on-court development, there's something else happening here that's equally important and often missed. Bronny James is learning what it means to be a professional from the best possible teacher. LeBron isn't just his father. He's one of the greatest basketball minds in history. The lessons Bronny is learning about preparation, about film study, about taking care of his body, about the mental parts of the game, these are things you simply cannot teach in any formal basketball program. This is generational knowledge being passed down, and it's happening in real time within the Lakers organization. So, when we talk about a possible contract extension for Bronny, we're not just talking about rewarding a second-round pick who's had a decent G League season. We're talking about investing in a player who has real upside, who fits a specific role within the team's future plans, and who represents something bigger than just his individual stats. We're talking about continuity, about culture, and about making a statement that the Lakers develop their young players and reward that development with long-term commitment. Now, let me get into the details of what I'm hearing about this possible contract situation. The current talks would involve the Lakers picking up Bronny's team options for years 3 and 4, which was always expected, but then adding extra years through an extension that would keep him under Lakers control through possibly the 2028 to 2029 season. The money terms would be modest by NBA standards, likely in the range of $2 to $3 million per year for the extension years, which is completely reasonable for a developing young guard with his potential. What makes this deal so strategic is the timing. By locking in Bronny now, before he possibly breaks out or makes himself a consistent NBA rotation player, the Lakers could be getting a cheap asset for years to come. If Bronny continues his development path and becomes even a solid 8th or 9th man in the rotation, a contract paying him $2 to $3 million per year would be an absolute steal in the current NBA salary cap situation. And if he does better than expected and develops into something more, then it becomes one of the best value contracts in the whole league. But there's another layer to this that I need to talk about, and it's something that connects directly to LeBron James' future with the team. LeBron has made it clear that playing with his son in the NBA was one of his career goals, and we've already seen that historic moment happen. But LeBron's contract situation is also changing. He's entering the final years of his career, and decisions about his future will be made in the next couple of seasons. Having Bronny locked into a long-term deal gives LeBron extra reason to possibly extend his own career in Los Angeles, knowing that his son's future is safe with the organization. Think about the marketing effects alone. The Lakers have always been about star power, about creating stories that go beyond basketball, and about building a brand that is known around the world. The James family legacy in Los Angeles is already set, but extending Bronny's contract takes that legacy to another level. It says that the Lakers are all in on being the James family team, that they're committed to honoring that relationship, and that they see value in building around that base even as LeBron's playing days finally come to an end. I also want to talk about how this fits into the Lakers' bigger roster strategy moving forward. Right now, the team has a mix of veteran players, mid-career guys in their best years, and young developing talent. That balance is key for lasting success. You need veterans who can compete for championships right now, but you also need young players who can grow into bigger roles and eventually become the core of your next great team. Bronny fits perfectly into that second group, and securing him long-term while he's still developing is exactly the type of forward-thinking move that championship organizations make. Let me give you some context about how other teams have handled similar situations with developing young players. The Miami Heat famously kept Tyler Hero through his early struggles and were rewarded when he developed into a sixth man of the year. The Golden State Warriors stuck with Jordan Poole through his rough rookie season and got many productive years before eventually trading him. The Toronto Raptors developed Fred VanVleet from an undrafted free agent into an all-star. The point is, player development takes time, patience, and organizational commitment. The Lakers extending Bronny would be a clear signal that they're willing to invest that time and patience. Now, I'm seeing some of you in the comments already asking about how this affects the Lakers' salary cap situation and their ability to make other moves. Let me talk about that directly, because it's a real concern. A contract extension for Bronny in the $2 to $3 million per year range has very little effect on the Lakers' overall cap flexibility. We're talking about roughly the veteran minimum salary, which is money the Lakers would be spending on a roster spot anyway. The difference is that instead of bringing in a veteran on a one-year deal who might not be here long-term, they're investing in a young player who fits their timeline and their organizational thinking. The real salary cap talks for the Lakers are about much bigger contracts. LeBron's deal, Anthony Davis's max contract, and any future moves for star-level players are what decide the Lakers' money flexibility. Bronny's extension is basically a tiny amount in those calculations, but it's a tiny amount that could pay huge rewards if he develops as expected. Here's something else that's worth thinking about. The Lakers' second-round draft pick success rate has historically been pretty strong. Marc Gasol, Jordan Clarkson, Ivica Zubac. These are all players the Lakers drafted in the second round who went on to have productive NBA careers. Even if some of them found their greatest success elsewhere after being traded. The point is that the Lakers' player development system has a history of finding talent outside the top picks and turning those players into valuable helpers. Bronny has every advantage that those players had, plus the extra benefit of learning directly from LeBron James on a daily basis. I'm also interested by the coaching staff's point of view on Bronny's development. JJ Redick has been vocal about the importance of player development and creating systems that allow young players to succeed. Having been a player himself, who had to work for everything he achieved in the NBA, Redick understands the value of giving developing players the time and chance they need to reach their potential. His coaching thinking lines up perfectly with a strategy that involves extending Bronny and committing to his long-term development. Let's also talk about the cultural effect of this possible extension. The Lakers are an organization that prides itself on loyalty to players who buy into the system and work hard. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Derek Fisher. These are players who spent their whole careers, or most of their careers, with the Lakers because the organization valued continuity and rewarded commitment. Extending Bronny sends a message to other young players around the league that if you come to Los Angeles and put in the work, the Lakers will invest in your future. That's powerful from a recruitment and keeping players standpoint. Now, I want to talk about the big issue in the room that I know some people are thinking about. Is this extension happening because Bronny is truly earning it through his development and potential? Or is it happening because of who his father is? And my answer to that is honestly, it's both. And that's perfectly fine. Yes, Bronny has the advantages that come with being LeBron's son, but he's also showing real improvement, real dedication, and real potential to be a useful NBA player. The Lakers aren't running a charity here. They're making a calculated basketball decision that they believe will help the organization both on and off the court. The timing of this possible extension is also important. We're entering a phase where the Lakers need to start thinking seriously about succession planning. LeBron is 40 years old. Even with his incredible ability to keep peak performance, Father Time is undefeated. The Lakers need to be building toward a future that doesn't rely entirely on LeBron being a first-option superstar. Anthony Davis will be the centerpiece of that future, but he needs supporting players who can grow into larger roles. Bronny could be one of those players, especially if he continues developing at his current rate. I'm also hearing that the Lakers coaching staff has been particularly impressed with Bronny's defensive versatility in the modern NBA. Guards who can defend multiple positions and switch onto bigger players are incredibly valuable. Bronny has the size, the strength, and the instincts to be that type of defender. If he can keep improving his offensive game while keeping his defensive intensity, he becomes exactly the type of 3-and-D guard that every championship team wants on their roster. Think about the Lakers' team building. 3 years from now, if this extension happens, you possibly have a 23-year-old Bronny James who's had several years of NBA and G League development, who's learned from one of the greatest players ever, and who's ready to be a consistent rotation player or even a starter. That's not a pipe dream. That's a realistic outcome if everything goes according to plan, and the Lakers would have him locked in at a team-friendly salary, giving them flexibility to build around him and their other core pieces. I also want to highlight the international marketing effects of keeping the James legacy in Los Angeles. The Lakers are a global brand, and LeBron has expanded that brand reach a huge amount during his time here. Bronny represents the next generation of that brand expansion. Young fans around the world who grew up watching LeBron will be interested in Bronny's career, especially if he's wearing purple and gold. That turns into jersey sales, to increased viewership, to social media engagement, and finally, to money that helps the Lakers keep their position as one of the most valuable teams in sports. So here's what I'm telling you. As someone who follows this team obsessively and has sources throughout the organization, the Bronny James contract extension talks are real. They're happening right now, and they represent a big strategic decision about the Lakers' future direction. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I read every single one, and I love hearing your points of view on these moves. This is exactly the type of forward-thinking strategy that separates championship organizations from average ones. The Lakers are thinking 3, 4, 5 years ahead while still competing for titles right now. That's incredibly hard to balance, but if anyone can do it, it's Rob Pelinka in this Lakers front office. If you want to stay on top of every Lakers update, every contract talk, every roster move, and every piece of inside information, make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report. Hit that like button. Share this video with every Lakers fan you know, and turn on those notifications. I'll be back with more exclusive analysis, more breaking news, and more insights into everything happening with our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. Go Lakers! Let's build this championship dynasty the right way. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. We're doing awesome. Please subscribe if you like the videos. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Have an awesome day.